Mainland FM.
Pick one, this one classic. Red from blind, yeah, I'm traffic.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM.
Ọ̀rọ̀ màrè ará àdúgbò wọ́n ti gbá ṣàmìràndé òde ọmọdé wéyẹ sẹ́ǹkan ni bàbá báwé adéwé wọ́n pè yẹn lónílé gogoro Mainland FM ló gbòde.
Fantastic conversations.
Great to see you again. It's good weather. You want to agree with that?
Yeah, I love weather.
I love the life that I live. Tomorrow.
Traffic updates.
Ojoba and Charity
And everything fun is right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch that dial.
Hello there, your number one sports show on radio, Sports Cruise, from 6 to 7 p.m. every weekday, only on 98.3 Mainland FM. Sports Cruise, 6 p.m. weekdays on 98.3 Mainland FM. The cruise never stops.
Give me freedom, give me fire, give me reason.
The cruise never stops.
We all say when I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.
Hello there, your number one sports show on radio, Sports Cruise, from 6 to 7 p.m. every weekday, only on 98.3 Mainland FM. Sports Cruise, 6 p.m. weekdays on 98.3 Mainland FM. The cruise never stops.
Give me freedom, give me fire, give me reason, take me higher.
Martinelli's making a storming run. Fran Garcia can't catch him. Martinelli! They deserve it. Gabriel Martinelli ensures that Arsenal will win not only the first leg of the quarter-final, but the second leg too.
I love this. It's a great goal. Taking their time. They know the game's done. They could just keep the ball there. Time to perfection. Garcia's never catching Martinelli, and the finish has got so much class and composure about it, and that score does not flatter Arsenal. This isn't a team that have just broke away a couple of times to pinch a game on the night. Far from it. They've been absolutely sensational over the two legs and will be very much amongst the favourites, I think, to go all the way in the competition. They're going to take some stopping. That's going to be some game against PSG.
On my wedding day, on my wedding day, my wedding day, my wedding day, my wedding day. She can't stop calling her phone ringtone. It's in my memory. Since the first time we met, she has been like this. That's why I treat her like a queen. She called me a king, like I do realize we can raise a family. I can't deny. No be lie.
I feel alright whenever she's by my side.
All right,
I'm about to be a mystery. I think that's one of the biggest albums of the last 15 years in Nigeria. Big shout out to Nice, by the way. I think that was from the Gongwaso itself, the self-titled album. Has some amazing work of art in that album. I love it.
All right, guys,
listen to it tonight.
Welcome.
Why did you choose?
No, just wait.
Troublemaker.
Just wait.
Why did you choose that song?
Arsenal have a wedding day date with PSG in the semi-final of the Champions League. Hello, welcome to Sport Cruise. I'm on 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Yes, of course, yesterday we had, is it La Remontanda or La Ramota?
La Ramonjago. La Antiramota.
They said La Ramontanda. That was the most heard word in the dressing room for Real Madrid. Someone said on the show yesterday that he's not
this problem. Over 2 legs now, 5-1 actually.
Woo!
Yes, now.
Wow!
Over 2 legs.
Don't leave me. None of the songs you'll be listening to were classics made in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, as well as early 2000s. That's why you're currently listening to it. And apart from that as well, yes, you also know as well that Thursdays on the show is very, very special because we take our time to talk about the second tier of European football as well as the third tier of European football, because that's where some people's club belong to. And the likes of, I decided not to mention names.
Mention it.
No. Let's, this show is not live. It is recorded. So whatever thing you are thinking of doing, please just focus on the person that you want to
listen to this show. We are just returning to England.
A Swedish international talked about Karlsborg 4 by 4-0 to unfortunately end Africa's has now signed a new 2-year deal to extend his stay to 2027. I think we'd also come back to talk about that. Do you actually think that David has to be one of the best centre backs to play in the English Premier League in Asia? We'll come back to talk about all of those, and yes, we'll also talk about the Federations Cup, Rangers International, not President Federations Cup, and then for the Diamond League, talking about athletics, also been confirmed that Tobey Amusan, the one I also regard or know as Toby Express, a quest for another title-winning campaign on the global stage. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the show. You're actually in for a very, very nice time. Yesterday we had the Champions League second leg. Talking about the quarterfinals, and you also know as well that the semi-finals is also decided. It's going to be Inter Milan up against Barcelona as well as PSG up against Arsenal, and Real Madrid's knockout from the UEFA Champions League also, and unfortunately as well for Bayern Munich yesterday were also unable to progress to the semi-finals after that 2-2 draw against Inter Milan. Welcome to the show. Good evening to you.
Big one there, but let me quickly drop this. 3 of the remaining 4 teams in the Champions League this season actually finished in the top 4 at the end of the season. And the 4th being the team that finished first with 21 points, that's Liverpool. And they got knocked out in a round of 16. So no be by who first scored police than the first win case. So in the top 4 for the Champions League this season, the group stages, we had Liverpool, we had Barcelona, we had Arsenal, and they had Inter Milan. So Inter Milan and Arsenal played each other at the San Siro. Inter Milan won that game by a goal to nothing via the penalty. So we have Liverpool finishing and they got knocked out. But
nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with this.
Akintayo is the weapon fashion against you, because he was the one that tagged me this post on Twitter, and I knew why he did it. Big shout out to Akintayo, by the way. It was a magical night. Arguably the biggest, I hate to admit, for a team that have never won the Champions League before. At the IS was the 2006 final where they lost by 2-1 to Barcelona in Paris. And then followership to the point that you can go 2 seasons and not win the league is not a problem. Arsenal can go 10 seasons and not win the league. There would always be an excuse. We pushed Man City to the stadium. It was the shape of the ball. It was this. People always, for whatever reason, make excuses for Arsenal's failure to look at it. But on the surface, I think the moment it draws the Madrid side, Arsenal fans were asking, they said, give us Real Madrid. They probably felt like it would be an open game, maybe a bit more difficult than it would be against Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid.
That's true.
And then Real Madrid did them the favor by not they was supposed to be a Telemundo Abbey La
Remontanda.
What English were they looking for? But I think both games combined probably has been Arsenal's easiest games the entire yesterday, apart from the mistake or the loss of concentration for Saliba. And I love the way Arsenal responded. I mean, they lost the penalty at first. Whatever Bukayo Saka was thinking to have wanted to, the goalkeeper would dive. Would make a move. That's why Panenka. Did you see Sergio Guirassí's Panenka against Barcelona?
Yes,
Tuesday?
exactly.
Play, except you're Andre Pirlo, and never ever lost a Panenka. You've got to be sure of what you're doing. But it was lucky yesterday. Like, I think the Panenka could not work, but the chip worked. I don't know what
exactly. It was final back in 2021. I was like, no, I hope this is not what is happening, because at that point it felt like
Martin Odegaard went with the ball.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guys with atmosphere, super engaging atmosphere. And the moment Odegaard went
with the ball to Bukayo Saka, is the first choice penalty taker. Exactly.
On the pitch. So, and I looked at his body language and I figured out England. I'm not sure he's lost any penalties after that.
Yeah, especially even for Arsenal.
For Arsenal, it takes big responsibilities against big teams at the big stage, even for the Three Lions as well. I don't know if he was ready for whatever would have come up if he had lost that penalty, and that penalty means had cost Arsenal that game and probably made them get knocked out. But I mean, good enough. They had again two assists.
They don't have joy. See, when Real Madrid confirmed that they were going to close the roof, a lot of people said that Declan Rice cooks better when the lead is
closed. They closed the roof. They not close the
You now know the funniest thing. I think they closed Real Madrid. One at Emirates Stadium, the other at Santiago Bernabéu Stadium. And it just looks like this guy. I think in his own element, he comes up with a different side.
So this is it. First off, every single big game you play, as a player, as a manager, is an audition for you. And so you have to pass the audition. And like I said, in the domestic title, which is probably the English Premier League. But again, you also look at those key players, 105 C.
Exactly.
Enzo Maresca. You also look at that as well.
The Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo Fernandez, I beg your pardon. You also look at Mukala Modric. I had to ask yesterday that what exactly is wrong with this guy?
Grealish
He's still on investigation. You also look at Jack Grealish as well. So it's every single time Declan Rice steps on the pitch to play for either England or Arsenal, the first thing everybody just on yesterday, I said, this is the first time Arsenal having a perfect replacement for their legend Patrick Vieira.
Exactly.
So it's going to take them a long way.
I think the master stroke for Mikel Arteta was making sure Declan Rice was not the defensive midfielder, making sure it was Thomas Partey. So Declan Rice is more or less like the number 8, the box-to-box midfielder that goes and he also comes back.
Let me push a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want anybody to nail me for that. The yellow card Thomas Partey received yesterday was intentional. Fact. He sacrificed the first leg of the
first leg is going to be at the Emirates Stadium.
Yes, he sacrificed the first leg of the semi-final for a place in the final. Fact. Because now that he has been suspended, he will play the next 2 games. Second leg, and if they qualify for the final, he can play. But if he goes into those round of semi-finals
and he gets another yellow card,
he could have picked up.
What if that comes back to one team as well as Arsenal players, Arsenal fans?
I think there's a mentality thing now. When Arteta was talking pre-match, he was talking about the fact that they want to do the talking on the pitch of play, and that was see the number of 31,000. Did you see the reaction in the stadium? Everywhere went wild. The ultras were everywhere. Did you see where they put Arsenal fans?
Yeah.
And you bet see.
They now put their shoes. So like
they just went to hang there. Even the camera could not pick them well. So, but I mean, I think it's first of all neutral. It was a beautiful display of football, and then for Real Madrid fans, I think it's a bit disrespectful on the part of Arsenal. For Real Madrid to think that they would overturn a 3-goal deficit advantage. I was watching Sky Sport News earlier today, and then one of the Sky Sport reporters was talking about the fact that the entire week, every single newspaper. So Arsenal players are like.
See the reaction of Lewis Kelly when he got to Emirates Stadium. He was sitting down pressing his phone at Santiago Bernabéu.
Everyone expresses
the level of composure.
Everyone expresses tension or anxiety differently. But I mean, for an 18-year-old boy, 18 years old, a virgin. I mean, it's not everyone that embraces such a platform. Obviously, the best young player of the season.
Exactly.
Nobody can argue with that.
Maybe the PFA say young player of the year.
Player of the year, absolutely. Nobody comes close to that. But on the surface, I said Man City need a puzzle breaker. They just need someone that will click in that puzzle. And they went to Borussia Dortmund. They brought in Haaland. That if they don't win it, they should sack Pep, they should arrest him, and they should jail him. Because the team was perfect. They just needed that deal breaker, and then they brought in. And that season, they won the Champions League.
Exactly.
They won the Premier League. They won the World Club competition. They won everything. Arsenal has a team that is on the right trajectory.
Exactly.
Defense, boy, oh boy. Q made round of 8 team of the week.
Wow.
UEFA round of 8. He's been fit for 4 months. He was training injured, and then the fear was like, draft him Ben White, let Ben White get Saliba out of the defense. Bring in position.
Exactly.
So Arteta didn't have a choice, and Arteta
important for now in that win.
Do you know what it means? Do you know what it means to have Rodrigo goes, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Bellingham, and then you have some pickpockets in the midfield that will run you ragged with some deft passes. And Kylian lived up to that space. So I think Zinchenko will leave at the end of this season. But of course, there's Saliba and Gabriel, arguably the best centre-back pairing in Europe as we speak. They come to the midfield. They got so much confidence. I'm sure they will give Thomas Partey.
Anyway, let's also quickly take a listen to what Mikel Arteta said after the game was concluded last night. To be right back.
Is the game today went as expected from you, as planned overall, or more than that?
I have to be honest. I was very convinced that we could beat them, and the team looked very, very prepared. So I had a lot of trust. But then you have to believe, and listen, Declan has never scored a free kick in his career. We haven't scored a direct free kick since September 2021. I think it was against Burnley away. And today, in 12 minutes, against Real Madrid, one of the best keepers in the world, we scored 2. So nobody knows about football, you know.
Is that something like he trained on it? Because the quality, the execution of that.
Amazing. It was incredible. He has this quality, he has the power, he's so precise and clean the way he strikes the ball. But to do it at this stage twice, it's just incredible.
Give your clean sheet with David Raya against really strong strikers, against experienced players, Real Madrid. What does it mean for the game, for the second leg as well?
Well, very important, because obviously you know the firepower that they have at the front, and the feeling every time they are on the ball in the last line. You are praying, you know, so they are very important. We have a really good result. It's just half time, and now we're going to have to step up the level again and go to the Bernabeu to win the game.
Welcome back to the Sports Cruise live from 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. And yes, let's also quickly talk about Okomi. What's the problem? What exactly?
I'm watching one video of Jidbeli, the way it was jumping.
I mean, for a lot of people, they make mention of the fact that Real Madrid currently have a depleted squad. Ferland Mendy's out, Dani Carvajal also out of the season due to an ACL injury. Partnership in Rudiger's with Militao is not really there. You also want to factor in the fact that the likes of Camavinga was also absent in this particular. No, I think a lot of people are also actually trying to give Real Madrid, exactly for Real Madrid. What next for Real Madrid? Do you think it's high time to let Ancelotti go?
Yeah, I think he'll be leaving at the end of the Copa the 20s. I think towards the end of this, so a lot of people are also speculating that it could be Jurgen Klopp, it could be anybody, but of course I think Arteta is super committed to the Arsenal project. His deal expires in 2028, but if they give him a new deal, he's ready to commit to a long-term future, even Martinelli as well. So I think Arteta is committed to the Arsenal project. Like I said yesterday night, Arteta is just one major trophy away from leaving Arsenal. He wins the Champions League, wins the Premier League, so maybe a few years of dominance, and then you just know that he's going to the next big thing. He's an extremely ambitious manager, even as a player, so we all know that. But for Madrid, for it's been a tale of two sides. Prior to the second leg, Proud to even the first leg, nobody was making all of those excuses. Madrid my Arsenal. They will skin Arsenal like issue. They will finish Arsenal. They will do whatever they want to do. At the end of the day, it didn't happen. They lost the first leg and then return like, oh, they are coming back. If anybody can do it, it's Madrid. Yeah, they've shown over the years that they are the king when it comes to this. By the way, this is the first time in 16 seasons that Madrid will not progress to the semi-final of the Champions League. And guess who stopped them? Arsenal. A team 2 legs of that game. And I think Madrid knows that they've got to restructure. By the way, if you pass the order, the better.
That's
How
true.
old was Van der Sar when Man U signed Van der Sar from Fulham? It was into his late 30s.
Exactly.
Jens Lehmann was in his late 30s when he was voted as the goalkeeper of the year in 2006. He went the entire Champions League season without conceding an open goal.
Exactly.
Until he got red carded in the final.
In the final, yeah.
Exactly. So for goalkeepers, even Oliver Kahn, they see every part of the pitch.
Yeah.
So I don't think the problem. Thibaut Courtois is still good. For the defense, Cavaya, of course, maybe in and out the injuries and all of that. I mean, said it was inexperienced, but of course, maybe David Alaba is like the missing link in that Real Madrid back.
Mendy was
injured. I think Madrid are winning. They're really missing Mendy.
Yeah, they do.
Now, anyways, but for David Alaba, I think Bukayo Saka understood the job in the first leg, and by the second leg, early into the game, I think like you want to look for the weakest defender to prey on. But in the heart of the midfield also, they've got Camavinga, they've got Tchouaméni, they've got Dani Ceballos. These are young players that will form the core of that team, and they've got the experience Luka Modric that is also going to get another 1 year contract extension as Madrid. And in the heart of in the attack, please, who is better than Vinicius Junior? Who is better than Jude Bellingham? Who is better than Kylian Mbappe? Who is better than Rodrigo Goso? These are the best. Whatever it is that Perez is feeding those boys with. So I think for me, I don't know what Real Madrid needs to do. Maybe they just need a switch. I don't think.
I think a major overhaul is what they need now.
Over what?
Yes, they need a major overhaul. I mean,
wait first.
How old is Rudiger? Rudiger just says the 30.
If you say Madrid needs overhauling,
this weak link is their defense now.
I'm not sure. I think Madrid looks like, I don't know if anybody remembers the Johnny Bravo character. They are big up front and thin at the back.
Wow.
But
it makes me think of some things.
Don't go there. So now, I think double season.
Okay.
Madrid won the Champions League. They
are a shadow of themselves now.
Exactly. I was talking to my friend Sᴘᴏʀᴛ Damsey, a very hardcore Madrid fan. And I told him, I said, Madrid had not been
by Lille as well.
Beat them anyhow. So Madrid have lost games.
Exactly.
You've lost game to Getafe. You lost game to Alaves, teams you shouldn't even lose to. So Madrid is here today. They are blowing hot. Tomorrow they are blowing cold. They are losing games they should win. Well. The team that are serious will look at how your season have been progressing.
Exactly.
How you've struggled.
And they even progress to the knockout stages via playoffs.
And they will
Yes, you put that into consideration.
They lost 3 of their first five games in the Champions League this season. So I think everybody knows that when Arsenal fans were asking for Real Madrid, they understood that, see, if we have a good day, we can knock out Madrid.
All right. Let's also quickly talk about Mikel Arteta. But before we also do that, let's quickly take a listen to this.
The final whistle, and Arsenal in some style have reached the Champions League semi-finals for the first time of the European champions Real Madrid.
Well, with all the hype before the game around Real Madrid, the comebacks, the history, this game never really felt in doubt, if I'm honest, right from the off. Arsenal set their stall out, they were solid, they managed the game, great choices when they needed to be right, and I have to say, over 2 legs. I mean, 5 across both of these games. That's how well Arsenal have managed the game, but it's also a little indicator to the side that this Real Madrid team isn't as potent as what it needs to be. And that's quite clear. That's come through in these 2 ties. This team is not at the level that all of these supporters expect. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some changes here at some point.
You're still on to Sports Cruise live from 98.3 FM, the Sound of Lagos. Very, very quickly, let's talk about Mikel Arteta. He eventually gets to the semi-finals of the Champions League and gets knocked out of the Champions League. You consider that as a good season for him? Because for a lot of people, beating Madrid is also a trophy.
Okay. I will cause trouble now again, and you know where I'm going to. Very few people gave the Super Eagles any chance at the last African Cup of Nations. Hang on, let me breathe,
okay,
man. Let the poor breathe, man. Let me breathe, bro.
Okay,
cook. Let me cook, bro. And there's white rice, right? Okay. So a lot of people didn't give the Super Eagles chance, and then they kept going, and then we kept bringing in believers along the line. So if we could celebrate the Super Eagles of Nigeria finishing second with such a plum, giving them national honor, giving them chieftaincy title and all of that. So for a Nigerian supporter, third season is in a bounce. They finished second behind the league champion. We don't know how many points they will use to finish behind Liverpool this season, but for Man City it was first season before the last season it was just 1 point, and this season you would expect that they should have done enough to cross the final line. But that notwithstanding, I think a lot of people also didn't think Arsenal was going to have any chance in the Champions League, especially after that loss against Inter Milan that dropped them to 11th on the table. Yeah. And then they just went on like that, and kept going. They beat a certain Monaco that was on like 18 games unbeaten run under Ruben. That goes to nothing. Kai Havertz getting one of those goals. So I think they've had their moment this season. By the way, Arsenal have considered the second fewest number of goals this season. Yeah. No, I think now they hold the record because of the second goal. That Inter considered. Exactly, yes. Considered the fewest number of goals Champions League this season, and they've lost only one match also. So if you look at their run in the Champions League, I think it's just the banter. I think it's just the quotes now, bad belly energy. Yeah. That's why people think like 11 games, and Arsenal gave them 7 goals to nothing. So I think if you look at how Arsenal have gone in the Champions League this season, then you know that where they are right now is a build-up. It's an accumulation of how much growth they've gotten. I think they look to me like a typical African against almost made it to the semi-final in 2010 against Uruguay and all of that. So that's what we are seeing Arsenal doing right now. And maybe now the pressure will now come. People would expect that, for you to knock out the defending champion and then play a team you have beaten this season already, you shouldn't struggle against PSG. More so, the first leg is at the Emirates Stadium.
Exactly. So they have to do the business.
The atmosphere against Real Madrid in the first leg
against PSG.
Like go to Park the Princes. Yeah. Anything could go wrong or right. You have to just get the advantage of getting the job done.
And they've also been knocked out. But one thing I also liked in that game was that they didn't go out without putting up a fight.
They
put on the most informed side.
It is the most complete side. My God, you think
stars exactly?
Just look at how Lautaro Martinez just keeps going. He got a goal in the first leg, a master stroke of a finish from the outside of his boot.
Exactly.
Look at the one he finished also yesterday. Look at the way the fans accepted him. El Capitano is the leader, is the captain. He's leading from the front. He's leading by example. He's showing his skill. He's done.
He was angry when he was substituted.
Yes, he's showing working. Not be He's not doing Vinicius Junior. He's not doing Jude Bellingham. He's showing workings. He's getting the goals. He's leading that Inter Milan side. But I think I made the first call yesterday at the Remember, we had a friend of mine that joined us on the show.
Okay.
K Divine.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
My university SUG president.
Exactly, I remember. We still talk to today. He said a company.
He said they will sack Vissel company at the end of this season. Now, if Bayern don't win the German Bundesliga, they are going to the World Cup competition in 2 months' time.
Well, to be honest, I think that will actually happen. Yes, I actually believe in that. I believe in that as well, because Bayern are known to fire an eye. He was still sacked,
bro.
Just behind the scenes, just step aside a little bit.
So I think for me, Bayern. I don't know. I think Bayern's game is being. Osmola has played his last European game. His pace
is tricky.
Missing. Those skinny movements where before you notice him, he's gone. I think they missed him. Serge Gnabry, guys couldn't. He's always angry every single time.
I think he has a point to prove.
When he's substituted, he's angry.
He's angry.
When he
scores,
if VAR removes goal, he's angry. If the block is short, he's angry. He's always angry. But hey, I think Bayern would have to, the next 6 months. Champions returns again the next 6 months, and everybody would have to sit back and re-strategize. But for Inter, they are well deserved. They didn't win the second leg. They deserved that semi-final.
We're looking forward to that as well. Talking about the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. But before we also do that, let's also quickly talk about the English Premier League. There was a game in the English Premier League last night at St James Park. Newcastle United eating Crystal Palace for 5 to also take them to third in the English Premier League table, just 4 points behind Arsenal. Are Newcastle truly back? Okoyemi?
They never left. They're having a crazy season. They've won the Carabao Cup, which automatically gives them tickets to Europe.
That's the Europa League.
And I think they just saw the fact that there's a lot of play around within the second place team. Liverpool seems untouchable right now. But I mean, they've joined their last two games against Everton and against Brentford. So Newcastle, since they've won the Carabao Cup, players in the last 6 games, and
guess not 40.
All of those players have given them 18 goals already. With Aḻe getting his 25th goal yesterday.
Exactly.
There is also players that ordinarily don't even get those number of goals. I'm looking at Jacob Murphy.
Like,
how is Murphy scored? Isak is still getting the job done.
And they are without their manager.
That's what I want to say. The crazy part is that Eddie Howe has, I think, pneumonia or something. So he's not been at the touchline in the last 2 games. And guess what? They've scored 9 goals.
Is it 9 or 10?
9.
Yeah, exactly. Against Manchester United 5 yesterday.
Crystal Palace that had lost only 2 games in the last 11 games away from home.
Newcastle
and
United.
They trashed them yesterday by 5 goals to nothing. Maybe if what's his name has scored that penalty.
Eberechi
like change the course of
he wanted to do.
He's only Maneka. It's not Paneka because that one felt like a back pass. I don't even know how to describe such a penalty at the top level.
What was that?
It's not different. That would have been 1-1, and that probably have just brought the game back to life. But I think Newcastle are thinking, you know what? Why not? Let's go for it. The teams from 2nd to 5th are not ready. They're not serious. And we are serious. We've gotten 18 out of available 18 points. Now they've toppled Nottingham Forest.
And
they're not careful.
They'll go ahead of Arsenal as well. Just 4 points.
How far can we go with this one? But Eddie Howe has done a tremendous job with the side. If they qualify for the champions, don't use money to lure any Newcastle player now. And if Newcastle qualify for the champions, but they already have European football.
They also have European football as well.
Some breathtaking
in fact, they will have the chance to play in two different European football because they say, should we play the Champions League or we play in Europa?
Exactly. And also now that all these players are still being treated like cult heroes because of the first thing, the title winning team.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if there's any player that would be ready to willingly leave Newcastle as we speak.
The UEFA Europa League as well as the third side, the UEFA Europa Conference League later tonight. Athletic Club Bilbao up against Rangers by 8 p.m. As it stands, it's goalless. Right there. We also have Eintracht Frankfurt as well up against Tottenham Hotspur coming Bodo Glimt in this one by 8 p.m. Lazio actually have a 2-goal deficit, to pursue in this one.
I didn't see that result coming.
Wow, Bodo Glimt.
I didn't see that.
Defeating Lazio. Then at the Saturday Olympic City, I think it's going to be a tough one for Bodo Glimt as well tonight, isn't it?
I followed Lazio this season. I've seen, the Europa League is a bit different from the Champions League. First off, our teams always hold on to their best chances, especially if you have a first leg advantage. You want to see how you can build up on same.
Yeah.
But for Lazio, if they go behind, by the way, Bodo Glimt scored 3 goals in. Guy, he's almost as good as done.
All right, Manchester United. That's their focus would also lie as well. Yes, are ahead of the game. Ruben Amorim has come out buying that. Okay, it's going to be a different kettle of fish this time around at Old Trafford. Not just for Manchester United, but also for Lyon, because as it stands, it's a 2-2 draw, and both teams would want to get to the semi-finals.
I don't know what you mean by kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But let's of this season's Champions League and Europa League and Conference League. So it's like open for everybody. Now, what has been Manchester United performance since after the first leg? They've lost to Newcastle by 4 goals to 1. Lyon won their game. And I think Lyon would ask themselves, they had every chance of winning that game in the first leg. I think they would fancy the chance of coming to Old Trafford. It's seen a lot of teams also come to Old Trafford to beat Man U this season. Bournemouth as part of them. Fulham also at Old Trafford this season. So you ask yourself again, that is Manchester United out for me day. But I think the best I've seen Man U play at home was under Mourinho. Away from home, it was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They had the best
that's true.
record.
That's true.
I think they lost only 1 or 2 games away from home the entire season under Ole, but they were getting badly beaten at Old Trafford. So I mean, Lyon would ask himself, why not? Lyon would also look at the other teams around. Man U still being in the Europa League is a threat to everybody on that day.
Exactly.
But again, if Lyon
42 goals they conceded.
Sometimes you look at some decisions and you're reinstating him immediately. First off, I don't even want to be the second just goalkeeper at Manchester United. So you're just going to double the over 150 goals done and had considered already in less than 2 seasons. So sometimes when you look at this decision, you're like, why does he have to Matic, former Man U midfielder, which I think is a bit disrespectful, by the way. I think Matic went a bit too
overboard.
Far. I think that was below.
But it was correct.
But again, apart from it,
exactly, it's reality.
Correct. The result shows.
But
again, you also look at the fact that the problem man you are facing this season has not been exactly entirely on Nana's fault. I mean, you were giving us stat last week, say percentage,
exactly,
and that clean sheet and all of that. But I mean, it's difficult, especially when you've made 6 errors directly leading to goals as a goalkeeper in less than 2 seasons. So, Atomi, let's get this straight.
All right.
No matter what you want to bring to football, and I'm not even talking about the technical part of it now. I'm talking about the 90-minute or 120-minute part of football.
So I'll score your opponent.
Every inverted pyramid, whether you have diamond formation, whether you have 4-1-4-1, whether you have 4-5-0-0-1. See, the most conventional formation in the entire football fraternity is 4-4-2.
Yeah.
It's balanced. It is ethical. It's because they're supposed to catch ball. That's why they're not wearing gloves in their legs.
But they also put on boots as well.
Listen to me. They could wear Dunlop. They could wear whatever it is they want to do. The principal job of a goalkeeper is to make sure that you don't pick the balls from inside your net.
Exactly.
Your job as a goalkeeper is not to assist.
Okay.
Your job as a goalkeeper is not to score free kick, except you are Oliver Campos of Mexico or you are Patrick Chilevert. If you are not those people, you don't have that. Nothing. See, your zone is in the box.
The box 16, exactly.
Or box 18. That's why they gave you. That's why
they gave you boundary.
Now why
they draw line.
Now why they call and goes. That was why they drew line for you. Box 18. Then there's box 6.
Exactly.
That's why you're allowed to catch the ball. That is why if you are on air running for ball and there's any contact, they will blow in your favor. That is why you are
that's your territory.
The goalkeepers are the most protected players on the pitch. That is why you have the advantage of looking at the game from a vantage point.
From
the ball from point. But as a goalkeeper, you are seeing the length and breadth of a football pitch. You are studying the game from every corner. So I don't know what got into you people's head. And then you are talking about sweeper gripper. You are talking about a sweeper keeper. The responsibility of a defender is to protect the goalkeeper.
Exactly.
The responsibility of a striker
is to score goals.
The responsibility of a winger is to do cut and paste
or
pull out and let the striker do their job.
Or you will score yourself.
There's nothing you want to bring to football today that should take away the traditional responsibility of everybody's role.
Responsibility.
As a winger,
it is there.
As a winger, your job is to make sure that crosses don't come into your defense from either 2 or 3.
Exactly.
As a 5 and 6, your job is to make sure that if those crosses eventually comes in,
you take them out.
Yeah. So if you say a goalkeeper is a
all right, let's also take some feedback very, very quickly. 0936000 0936000 You can also send WhatsApp or text messages as well to us via 0936000 A lot can call on Porter or Southgate. And don't forget, Arsenal women also dumped out the Madrid women. I think weapons formed against Madrid is Arsenal, and it has proper. Thank you.
Ogami.
My name is Adal.
Oh, you're welcome. Good evening. Make gonna say me for this show. We're gonna tell you which one we are wrong.
I know you're wrong.
Okay.
You don't turn to Bangrove. Everything.
Yeah.
They don't open everywhere. Hello, my name is Michael from Sᴘᴏ.
You're welcome, Michael. Welcome to Sport Cruise.
Do that they are out. That if my Arsenal beat Madrid, that you will not be on air again. I hope you said it all the time. Exactly, because that very day he was saying that if Arsenal make Real Madrid, that the Arsenal is out. That
he can't be
because Akita is
Barcelona fan.
He can't be Akita.
He for Madrid to get knocked out.
He can't be Akita.
So he does doing a great job. I also think that for the Champions League, for them, and even the way they play for the Champions League is very different from the way they play in the league.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let's also get to pick more calls as well. This person says, all right, let's also get to listen, read more messages as well. This person says, good evening, guys. Okoyemi, this is your conspiracy theory on party. Suppose they work for CIA or FBI. As I said yesterday, what amazed me was all the hype, PR, firework, roof. It was as if the World War would come to an end. And for us now, when Madrid unleashed their onslaught with everything in Motanda, Abina, Ramon Atonda. I mean, I know it is again. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show. Yeah, welcome. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening. My name is Gospel. I'm calling from.
Yeah, welcome, Gospel.
I called yesterday actually, and I said I was going to say that even if we might take like they should take their application. They are not that much. They try to make everywhere uncomfortable for us, but it backfired. We gave them one entertainment in their first leg. We just gave them place of rice and one cold bottle of merino.
Wait. You gave them wait. Say it again. Say it again.
We gave them 6 plates of rice and one cold bottle of merino.
3 plates of rice.
Everybody don't turn to poet.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's only get a few more calls. 6,400.
You remember that I got my position right here, the internet. And what I know is that to beat Real Madrid is not the issue, but let them go on and win the Champions League because if they don't win it, what I go do?
Thank you so much.
I just want to see Inter PSG in the final. I know that.
Wow.
Thank
you. Are you for us? Are you against us? Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show. Good evening to you. Hello, you're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
This is Michael.
You're welcome, Michael.
Okay. You should know that once Real Madrid is out of Champions League, even because of Barcelona, Barcelona is a serious trouble now. And I believe one thing, Madrid fans shouldn't take the league or the out of Champions League too serious like that. It's Champions League. It's not easy now. Even if you guys is not perform in the next 2-3 seasons, you should just be happy.
Thank you so much.
Next 10 seasons.
Thank you so much.
You should just be happy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I'm very, very sorry. Can't pick any more calls. Yinka Waloya has been calling. Let me pick his call. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the show, Yinka.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening to you. Very quickly, Yinka.
I was not surprised that Arsenal won. What's the extent of Jorginho's injury?
Jorginho's injury is just a knock. Exactly. It's not anything serious. But thank you so much.
It was available.
It was available for the game against Real Madrid, but he could. So now I say your predictions very quickly. Okay, maybe Onana will be the architect of their program as well later tonight. Thank you so much. Up next is Way Back Waves with 3 up here. Please stay on.